r/AskReddit. What's a dying industry that no one realizes? These shoe shining stores in NYC can't understand how they afford the rent. Notice how they've expanded their service offerings. They sell umbrellas, cut keys, replace watch batteries, fix handbags, and whatever else they can come up with. Dude, some of those guys are wizards. Cobbler used to be a job, but now my cobbler is a locksmith, a phone repair guy, a seamstress, an engraver, and about 14 other things. It's got to the point that I just go to him whenever I feel like I need help. Printers, which is weird to say as I'm a printer repair tech, but yeah, they are slowly dying out. My company has started diversifying into other areas because we literally had a drop of like 60% last year. That's because the ink comes in weird ass proprietary cartridges designed to make it unnecessarily expensive, resulting in costs so high that you barely save over hiring a professional printing service for your needs. Then the printer is made to break within 3 years of buying it. Forestry. Last I heard in the US the average age of a forester was over 50 plus. It sucks because I really wanted to get a degree in ecology and work at a national park, but when I researched the wages and looked into how many permanent jobs were available, the math just didn't add up for me. I'd owe too much in student loans, and I would have to move constantly because all of the work was seasonal. It's very unfortunate. National parks pay is in smiles and sunsets, which translates to getting paid shit. A lot of them love their jobs though. The teen magazine industry. I used to read them and there were so many, but now they are just gone. They're either online or non-existent. I really think that due to the internet and social media, the purpose of those magazines is obsolete, to say the least. I used to have subscriptions to so many of the teen magazines. Cosmo Girl, 17, YM, Teen Vogue. Now I can barely focus on magazines. It all seems so trite. Oh man. Did anyone here ever see the comment from the guy who collected the Cosmo magazines because once you had them all the spines signed to make a hunky guy? He was straight, but it made him feel accomplished when he completed it. Funny and wholesome. Former strip club DJ then manager here. Strip clubs are dying. Hip hop keeps the strip club industry alive right now because it's great for your Instagram to be throwing money at the stage while Future mumbles over the PA. But it's a whole lot different to be an entertainer now. In the early 2000s and before, the strip club industry was thriving because you couldn't just go on your phone and watch the most taboo thing you could think of. You had to get in your car and spend a whole lot of money on dancer after dancer after dancer before you found someone who was okay with you thinking she looked like, for instance, your granddaughter. Unfortunately, that came up a whole lot more than you would think. But if the girl was depraved enough to act out that fantasy, she has a customer for life. Now every pervert that wants to see something taboo just needs to go to the hub and look through videos till they see whatever entices them. It's also getting safer for the workers, which is nice, because they can get their oven, not have to pay house fees, DJ fee, house mom fee. Add all that to economic issues and the shutdown. I went from $85,000 a year to $28,000 a year because I had to change industries. Your local satin doll or bazookas just isn't going to be around too much longer. This post was a ride for someone who has never been to a strip club and will never go to one. Closest I've been to a strip club was a GTAV. Nice try, but I'm not giving you another millennial are killing headline. Millennials are killing the millennials are killing headlines. Gen Z will bring it back. We all know what the Z stands for. Limitless paper in a paperless world. You have no idea how high I can fly. May your hats fly as high as your dreams. Duh funeral homes. Take this upvote and don't let me see you around here for a couple of hours at least. Shoe repair stores. Hopefully the new generation will return to them. The same people who call for right to repair and don't want to be wasteful should start getting their shoes fixed. I tried. A lot of modern shoes are apparently unrepairable according to my nearest shoe repair store. That no one realizes. Newspapers, yellow pages, malls, everyone has known these are dying for over a decade. Where I live there is a mall that is booming. It makes 0 sense. The other malls in the area have died, been flipped outwards to large single stores, or are in their death throes, but this one, it perseveres. You drive by on any given weeknight and it has a good amount of cars in the parking lot. You go by on the weekend, it's packed. You go inside and it's like something out of my childhood in the 90s. Kids, adults, tons of people. I don't get it. I legit just don't get it. Function halls. We've had 3 close in the last 4 years and COVID isn't helping. Most people just have events at really nice hotels or have smaller weddings at barns, etc. One of the best weddings I ever went to was held in a barn. Actually a machine shop. They covered the equipment, moved things around to make a dance floor, and brought in some folding tables. One of the groom's buddies cooked barbecue, and it was BYOB. The couple, second marriage for both, looked so happy and had a great time. It was such a low-key, low-pressure event. Everyone enjoyed themselves very much and it was a lot of fun. Standardized tests companies. There are many of them because they used to send out tens of thousands of paper copy tests. School districts are leaning more towards online testing, meaning one company can cover hundreds of thousands of people. Drive shaft repair / balancing. The one repairman we had in the city closed his doors because he had a high demand, but no one else works there and no one has the patience it takes to learn it and do it. He got tired of his customers not being patient enough to sit on his wait list. Customers have absolutely no chill these days and that gets old quick. No they do not. We were one of them to a degree, but he loved our mechanic like a son, so he accepted our business. The people I'd see up there would drop their shafts, jidgedy, on the ground and just say I need it done in a week. Meanwhile he is cork scheduled a month out. One lonely guy working on a wall of drive shafts takes a while. Radio. Remember when we waited for our favorite songs to come up? Waited for shows and gossips on them or their top 10 songs chart. These days are gone. Radio personalities drive me up the wall these days. I remember there being interesting conversations and discussions back in the day, but now it's just social media-esque crap and blathering on about inane nonsense that doesn't matter. Then there are the ads, and then more talking, and when they finally play music, it's the same crap songs. I would rather listen to a podcast or music I've curated myself. Thanks. However, to be fair, this is in a smaller city with only 4 stations. In larger cities, I have found niche stations that are super dope. I understand that video killed the radio star. I don't know. Nobody has realized. Got his ass. Priesthood. I had this conversation with my devout Catholic mom. My uncle, a priest, was unable to take vacation 3 years ago because they didn't have coverage for services. I mentioned that until they have more updated rules regarding priests' ability to marry or women able to hold mass, this is going to keep happening. They should probably do something about the pedophilia, too. Lot of people still angry about that one. Big part of it is Ireland. For most of the 20th century, Ireland pumped out priests at an insane rate, essentially exporting priests around the world. With declining religiousness in a post-Troubles UK Ireland no longer recruits enough priests to cover their domestic attrition rate, let alone sending them around the world. Beekeeping. Beekeepers are older and retiring. Young people are saddled with debt and are not interested in so much work. Also problems such as bee colony collapse disorder taking out over 20% of beehives. Beekeepers can make over $100,000 a year BTW. Bees are essential to agriculture that would most certainly be in demand. Update. Thanks for all the comments. I was told this info by an old beekeeper in SoCal, California. Honey sales are only part of the business. The money is made by renting your beehives to farmers. Plants must have bees for pollination. Your actual work is loading and unloading beehives and traveling hundreds of miles up and down your state and setting out beehives. No passive income. Setting up a few hives behind your apartment is not going to make you rich. It is a business. An investment is at risk and it's hard work in the hot sun. My personal opinion means nothing. Talk to your county agriculture agent or any farming people you can find. They are all friendly folks and can give you some idea what the needs are. State universities have agriculture departments. They will have good information also. If this post inspires you in the future, best of luck. How the duck does one even get into beekeeping? You need to get all bees in college. Also, one no one thinks of is arcade game technician. There are already very few of these around and it's a dying breed. I know a few and they are older and ready to retire, and there really aren't any that are young. If there are some that are young, we are talking very few and far between. This was a very common job in the 1980s when arcades were booming. Someone had to keep the machines running. It's also very difficult to become an arcade game technician. You can't exactly go to school for it. There is probably only one traveling school in the USA that teaches this sort of thing. And even now it's more like being a casino slot machine technician. If you want to learn old school arcade game repair techniques, you have to find someone who is older who is willing to teach you. And that will be very difficult. I'd add pinball tech to that too. It seems way harder with all of the moving parts and it's not quite the same as a video game. Casual cameras, especially digital cameras. Smartphones generally have a similar quality, and you already have one. They have integrated flash drives anyway. You don't need to own a camera to take pictures. The casual market for them will die, obviously. Professional cameras will still be around, but they're an extreme niche. You won't buy a several $1,000 camera to take vacation pictures. You won't buy a several $1,000 camera to take vacation pictures. You don't need several thousands of dollars to exceed a phone camera. A basic DSLR you can get at Best Buy for $450 during holiday sales will destroy any cell phone photo. Physics is physics and cell phone lenses are simply subpar. When you buy a phone with a good camera, you're not buying a camera, you're buying image processing. My 15-year-old Fuji point and shoot takes photos a phone will never be able to match. There are some uses for them though. I keep one around for traveling. So if we want a photo, we can ask strangers to take one for us without handing them a $1,000 smartphone. Strippers being replaced with webcam models, escorts indoors. Yes, any halfway pretty girl can make more fro home. Why would you strip with creeps? Unreported cash income? In dry areas, like the vast southwestern part of the US for instance, the whole lawn care industry is in for a shutdown. Say goodbye to lawnmowers, leaf blowers. Say hello to beautiful yards with native plants that are much better for the environment. Academia. It seems huge now, but that's because it was built up so much during the baby boom and economic boom of 81-2008. But it's facing a demographic cliff in the next 10 years. The number of college-age people will shrink for the first time in a very long time. Tenured professors are being replaced by short-term gig workers. There is a huge oversupply of people with PhDs. The bubble is already deflating. Having interviewed for tenure-track positions in the sciences, this is absolutely true. Spend 10 years of your most productive years getting degrees, bachelor's, master's, PhD, then another 2-5 as a postdoc, all the while applying for a limited number of jobs in the academy. If you are one of the lucky 10% to make it there, you then are expected to essentially be a small business dedicated to securing grant money, and your salary will only cover 9 months of the year. The remaining 3 months you need to cover yourself. And that doesn't mean you can just take 3 months off. It's a terrible racket. Yes, it can be thrilling and rewarding, but the competition and pressure is intense. There was a brief period in college where I had dreams of pursuing a PhD and a career in academia. My student aid job in one of the university departments quickly disillusioned me to the realities of such a life. A lot of family members of mine, even older ones, have not been using cable because they can just watch Netflix, Disney Plus, Amazon Prime Video, Hulu, Peacock and Crunchyroll. Other than that, we only generally watch the news. Except now they are starting the same bullshit with streaming. If you want a full buffet of watching options, you need at least 2-3 streaming services. Offers to sell grouped streaming services will be the new cable. Cashiers in front of house. I checked into a B&B and never saw a representative the entire time I was there. Was given a code to my room via text after checking in online. Never saw the soul. In the supermarkets in England there are 5 times more machines for checking out your shopping than human cashiers. It might be regional. Where I work, people often prefer the cashiers over the self-checkout. Even if there's a huge line eater, I'm not judging people who prefer the cashiers. I get it. Just pointing out what I've noticed. I think the funeral business has priced themselves out of the market for the traditional embalming and burial that costs 5 figures. I know some conservative, religious family members that opted for cremation just because of the cost. Seriously, they are crazy with how much they charge. My grandma thankfully paid for her plot up front years ago and it cost somewhere around $300. She died this past weekend and when reviewing with the mortuary the current price is $5,000 for the same plot. You're ducking telling me I need to pay $5K to get buried in dirt? Duck that shit. No wonder people don't pay for that. Toss me in the woods somewhere, dog, give me back to nature at that price. It shouldn't really be a surprise because retail itself is dying. But phone shops. I used to work at a flagship store and our target stayed more or less the same for 3 years. However, each month it got harder to hit. People know they can go online, be confident that they're not getting tricked into something additional they don't want, and in some cases, get a significantly better deal. I'm traditionally someone that likes to shop in person, particularly with clothes and electronics. COVID has killed my appetite to go to large indoor shopping centers or be confined in smaller spaces with strangers. So now I only shop online. Had it not been for the pandemic, I'd probably still be shopping in person. Phone stores also suffer because they are limited in what they can do. I went into a Verizon store to cancel service and they can't do that. They had to call the Verizon number and put me on the phone. I could have done that from home. Quality, durable furniture. You ever talk to your grandparents about some of the pieces of furniture in their house and some of them have an extensive history in the family, like a glass top coffee table or a nice oak table and chairs? That's because we used to make furniture in America that actually withstood the test of time. When you bought furniture you weren't buying it just for yourself, but to also pass down through generations because the quality was that good. My grandparents' original dining room set sits in my house now and the thing is almost 70 years old. We don't make furniture like that anymore. Not because the industry didn't want it, but because disposable furniture became the new norm. Not only is it cheaper, but nobody wants furniture that they have to look after and store and figure out how to move across the country. They want a quick setup and to replace it in 5 years. This creates 2 problems. Furniture isn't nearly as durable as it used to be. It doesn't have to last a lifetime. It only has to last for a couple of years and you'll replace it anyway. This leads to, obviously, worse quality wood being used, which in turn leads to furniture that can be damaged easily or it is not safe. Look up IKEA dresses and how often they fall on top of children for a small case study in this. Back to wood. Worse quality means more furniture means more wood. Simply by replacing furniture more often we are consuming higher and higher amounts of lumber to build these products. As you can imagine, this leads to higher rates of deforestation in places you wouldn't even think of, like the protected forests of Sweden or Romania. So, not only are we taking worse quality wood than what is available, we are also encouraging the illegal removal of it from protected lands. This is going to get buried in the comments, but it is something that I don't think even 1% of the population of America is aware of. Our desire to break away from sturdy, well-made furniture in favor of convenience has effectively killed the American furniture industry and put us on a road towards higher deforestation rates and less safety in our own homes. Edit. Spelling. Neon signs. There used to be a neon sign on every business, but neon signs are full of chemicals, some rather dangerous, like neon, argon, and mercury. Not to mention they can be a fire hazard and very inefficient with electricity use compared to LEDs. In fact, in America, a lot of places have made them illegal or at least changed building codes to no longer allow them. I'm in the business and have friends that went to school for neon bending. It requires a lot of chemistry that are now struggling. So you're saying you're one of the last neon benders? Business cards. Check this out. Eggshell. With Romalian type. Jesus. How did it wait like you get so tasteful? How can lampshade stores pay the rent? Drug sales or money laundering, I assume. You just threw some shade at an entire industry. Playboy. Remember when they switched formats to just scantily clad women for like 6 months? What were they thinking? Probably that their traditional photo content simply can't compete in a world awash in free porn. Counterintuitively, There's a very small and diminishing demographic that is going to buy Playboy for the pictures anymore. So I suppose the tactic was to experiment with their content to find any way to compete. I'm a journalist. We're ducked. Everyone makes up their own reality now. Facts are infinite in supply, mostly because no one believes in truth, or at least, not enough to pay for it. AI is gradually taking over. The industry has yet to figure out how to make the internet a business asset, broadly speaking. On one hand, news reporting is important. On the other, I'm not going to pay $15 a month to 20 different sites just to read it. Figure out some other way. Auctions. I grew up in them and our family business was hauling merchandise to auctions. It slowed down so much we had to quit. Auctions have typically mostly relied on snowbirds, but it's just really died down. Not many young adults go. I don't see them lasting much longer besides online auctions and vehicle auctions. Just my personal take. I've seen some local auctioneers embracing online auctions, where they have an open house before the bidding starts so people can see the items in person, then sell the lots items online and have a pickup weekend. I think that's the way to go. Big retail stores, like JCPenney or Macy's, but who is going to host the Thanksgiving parade? Independent garden supply stores. Many of them are mom and pop businesses that have been around a long time. But unfortunately their land is more useful for yet more condos and expensive apartments, and people seem to rather go to Home Depot to get their plants and trees. I try to support them whenever I can, but they are becoming less and less competitive against big box stores. MySpace, Facebook. Except they're profitable and they own other social media platforms. Facebook is just their boomer slice of the pie. Cab drivers. Ever since Uber/Lyft came around and became much more reliable, I do not remember the last time I went in one. Depends where you are. The key here is no one realizes it, so I say auto mechanics. With electric cars taking over, my guess is that in 25 years you will need specialty clip-in parts at a dealership. The small customer body shop or mechanic will likely fade and die. Cemeteries. I think it is up to about 70% cremation and hardly anyone buys plots anymore. It really is a dying industry. Print media might be dying. I feel like you can easily access newspapers and magazines online, so printing might be unnecessary. I read news digitally, but when it comes to reading fiction I vastly prefer a physical book. Journalists. People with a $1,000 setup and a YouTube page get more views than daytime cable news shows. Machinists. My husband is one and he's in his mid-20s, but he's at least 40 years younger than pretty much everyone he works around. Hospitality. This is happening as we speak, but no one is really noticing unless you are involved in the industry. Business professional menswear. The execs at my company are old conservative white men. So they still wear suits every day and expect others to also. But my friends who still go to an office have casual or business casual dress codes, and several more are fully remote now. As remote work becomes more of a norm and old traditionalists start to retire, I think demand for suits and ties will go down, and I won't complain about it. DVDs, they still have a decent section of them at Target and Walmart, but I feel there's a great chance they'll be gone almost completely by the end of the decade. Citrus. Growing up in Florida, my house was surrounded by orange groves, and now 20 years later none of them are around anymore. They have all been cut down due to bacteria that nobody could get rid of. Have you noticed that when you call for a plumber, the cost has doubled from the astronomical cost it already was, and a window of arrival between 10 AM and 6 PM? There are fewer and fewer plumber apprentices. If we don't stop encouraging everyone to go to college no matter what, we're literally all in deep shit. Edit. I've offended some with my college comment. My apologies for my miscommunication. I'm not talking about trade schools and vocation training. I'm specifically referring to, at least in my high school, teaching that a 4-year bachelor's degree is the ultimate goal if you want a lucrative career. That simply isn't true. Looking for cheap butts. Huh. No one realizes that nuclear medicine is dying. It's being replaced by methods that cause less damage to the patient. It's kinda sad that schools still offer it since it's going to be gone in the next 20 years. Edit. My area is not using the NM. Recently, the hospital in my area has been getting 1 maybe 2 patients a day. I'm a student. This is what my professors mention to the students. It may just be my area. So if other areas are still thriving when it comes to NM, then that's great. What was explained to me was that other X-ray modalities are being used instead. Whoa, you made it to the end? You're a ducking beast. I'll cut you a deal. Smash like and subscribe for more curated content, bruh. It's free and that's a great price.